couple of second generation Trans Ams. One of them I'm planning on bringing back. I've got my trailer on the back of the truck right now as we speak. So the goal of this video is I'm going to go look at these cars. The one that there's one I'm trying to buy. I don't think he wants to sell it. There's another one that I know is for sale, which is what we're going for in the first place. So I'm gonna go look at these cars. I'm gonna show you, when you go to look at one of these cars, what you should and should not be looking for, as far as overall body condition, rust, correct engines, not correct engines, red flags, overall, you know, green flag or red flag. Should I or should I not make this investment? Because as a restorer that does this for a living, and I know what it costs to build these cars, I know everybody has these grandiose ideas after watching all these TV shows, you know, oh, I want to go buy an old car and I want to restore an old car, and there's this mentality of it's going to go quick because they do it in a week on TV and it's cheap, and that's bull crap. And I'm going to try to help you save money buying the car in the first place, and then along the way, kind of, you know, through a series of other videos, show you what it's about and the reality of it and what you are getting yourself into. So stay tuned, grab a beer, get you some popcorn. That sounds awful as a combination now that I said that, but I don't know. It might be good, it might not be good. But sit back and relax, and I want to show you what you should and should not buy, and what you should and should not look for before investing a very long time and lots of cash. So yeah, let's go have some fun. We're going to focus on things like checking VIN numbers. I'll kind of try to give you a rundown on what to look for as far as VIN numbers go. They change through the years. Early cars have got different VIN numbers than later cars. That doesn't mean that, you know, it's not a Trans Am or it is a Trans Am because this isn't this or that's not that. They just changed. So this car, the one I'm looking at buying, most likely is a 79. So I'll show you the VIN number and kind of give you a way to break it down, just so, like, on the fly, if you see a car on the side of the road for sale, you can walk up to it and go, oh yeah, that's definitely a 77 or a 78 or a 79 Trans Am, and this is the engine that's supposed to be in it, blah, blah, blah. I'll show you the data plate on this car and kind of give you a quick breakdown. That way you can look at a car and tell if it's been repainted, you know, it's not the right color, stuff like that. This is a 403 automatic car, which I've already seen photographs of it, so I know it's at least got the correct engine in it. I don't know if it's the original one or not, but I'll show you, you know, how to tell if it's an Oldsmobile or a Pontiac, and, you know, go around the car, show all of the trouble spots on the bodies and stuff and that kind of thing. If you're planning on spending a substantial amount of money, and I know that's relative to everybody, you know, what's a lot to somebody might not be a lot to somebody else, but if you're looking at making a big investment on what's could be potentially like a rare car, a collectible car, a special edition car, something like that, an early car, 70 to 73 Trans Am, you know, there is a service called Pontiac Historical Services. It's phs-online.net, might be .com, pretty sure it's .net, but for a fee, if you send them the VIN number for the car, they will send you back a packet, and it'll give you the build sheet, where the car was sold new, how it was optioned. If you're planning on, you know, if someone is claiming that, you know, hey, I've got a 78 Y82 Special Edition 4-speed car, that's a big dollar car, very rare car, big dollar car. You're probably going to spend a lot of money for it. Spend the money to get the PHS on the car, so you know when you get there what you are looking at, because there's a lot of people, man, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of good sellers out there, there's a lot of honest people out there, There's a lot of people out there that will just screw you and take your money. So that is a very, very strong weapon that us people in the Pontiac community are very fortunate to have, and they are not sponsoring this video at all. I'm not getting any kickbacks from this. I use it quite often. It just saves you a lot of money. I've spent, the money on the PHS on a car that was, either I thought could be something super rare or was being advertised as something super rare, and I got the PHS packet back on the car, and it was not what I thought it was or what I was told it was. And that saves you travel time, hotel rooms, airplane tickets, cheap insurance if you're gonna spend money on a big dollar car. If it's a lower end car, cheaper car, something you're just going to toy around with, still though, you don't want someone to say, hey, I've got this Trans Am, and you get there and it's a Firebird. I see that a lot at Pigeon Forge, at the spring and the fall show. I have been there and I have seen cars that, since I know what the VIN numbers are, I will look at the VIN number on the car, and it'll be just a base model Firebird that somebody has trimmed out with all of the spoilers and the air extractors and the shakers and all that stuff on there, and try to pawn it off as a Trans Am, and it's not. And that's not right, because the next guy or girl that happens to come by and sees this, somewhat pretty car there for a, good amount of money is going to get screwed. And that's not cool. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm going to show you. We're going to walk around the car. I'm going to show you, I know the car's got some minor rust issues, so it's kind of good to point this stuff out, which, there's nothing on here from what I've seen in photographs that scare me. So I'll show those. Like I said, we'll show the VIN number. I'll show you the engines, that kind of stuff, data plate, that kind of thing. And we'll go from there. But like I said, do your homework. Do your homework. Call me at the shop. If somebody out there is looking to make a purchase and they're a little, I'm not sure about this, call me. I'll do what I can, to kind of guide you through the process. In a nice little shameless self-promotion, we've got cars to shop for sale. I can build you a car, and I can come look at it. I can give you the process and tell you what's involved and what, that way when you get the car, you know what you've got. But just be smart about it. Don't just go out there and blow money on something because you thought it looked cool, or you saw one on a TV show and you thought it looked cool. Be smart about it. This is something you're going to probably want to own for a while, and you don't want to get stuck with a piece of trash. So we'll be there in a couple hours. I'm still driving along, stuck in traffic. Yay me. Probably one of the coolest things about doing this is coming out here and seeing these old towns. I mean, there's all these old little towns all across. Look at that old theater. It's actually still working. Wow. Old buildings and gas stations. It's like going back in history. The old diner's still open. Killer. Another cool old town. It's just like time forgot these places. Look at that. Holla community development. Old churches. Makes you wonder what kind of old cars are hiding in these buildings. There's probably some sweet old stuff hiding around here that we don't know about. And we are here. And I already see treasures. So we're here. This is the subject of our video here. I just about fell in a hole. 1979 Pontiac Trans Am. What appears to be a black car, black interior. So the first thing we're going to look at is, here's your VIN number. My phone's killing it. 2W87K9N, and then the rest of it's just your sequence number. But the 2W87 and a 79 is going to tell you right off the bat it's a Trans Am. All Trans Ams were the W87. K indicates it's a 403 Oldsmobile, and all of the 403 Oldsmobile cars were automatic cars. N is the last digit of the year model, so in 1979, and N is the Norwood, Ohio factory. And like I said, the rest of it is just the sequence of the cars that went down the assembly line. But 2W87 from 77 to 79 is what you're looking for to verify that that is a real Trans Am and not a Firebird that's been cloned into one. I'm going to kind of come back and look, and so far it looks pretty decent. Fender's fairly straight. They're real bad about having rust issues up along this jam, which this car does not have. They're real bad about having rust up here in the cowl. We barely have a little bit starting here in the corner. This is a very, very common spot on these cars to have rust. Come down the fender here. Little tiny bit here in the corner. A little bit of a dent right there in the center. That's pretty common, not a big deal. Doesn't scare me. Easy fix. Let's come down to the door. That's just some paint's just flaking with some primer on it, probably to keep it from getting too rusty. A couple little door dings. Got some paint peeling away around the door jamb. Broken door lock. Typical issue with these cars. Super easy fix. Doesn't scare me. There's your tag for your tires. Your weight capacity, black door jambs, good deal. Little tiny hole there, not a big deal. Very common to see. These cars usually have giant holes in here, so that's not a big deal at all. Make sure you go down the whole length of the bottom of the door. These things are notorious as well for having rust issues through here. Door jamb looks good. Looks like there might be a little bit of filler right there, but I can't really tell. Could be seam sealer. Jamb looks great. Rocker looks clean. I'll tell you something you really want to watch out for in these cars, and I've seen a lot of them that are like this. Back in the day, it used to be legal. If a car got hit really hard in the back, they would actually cut two cars in half and they would graft the back end of another car. And if they do, usually right here in the center of your rocker, there'll be a weld. It'll look kind of funny where they do the body work. There'll be a weld that runs all the way down the middle of the car where they graft the whole back part of this shell. And they'll also, somewhere up in here, there'll be a weld, which that's pretty clean. You can sometimes pull your weather strip back and pull the channel out to look, but this car doesn't look like it's got any of those issues, so I'm not really gonna push it too far. Interior, typical. It's not great. It's not rough. I mean, I've seen worse. The dash is typical cracks. Typical cruise controls broke. That doesn't scare me. Console's pretty nice. Top of your pads wore out. Not a big deal. Cheap fix. Needs a headliner. Roof's pretty straight. Lock needs to be fixed. It just needs to be lubed up. I'll do that before I leave. Quarter looks pretty good. Something you really want to watch for these cars, and this is how you find out if someone's put lower quarter patches or just filled them full of Bondo. This is factory correct. I hope you can see this. There's a little tiny spot starting to pop through right there, but that's not a big deal. If you look real close, you'll see little spot welds all the way up through here. And you can feel them with your thumb. That is factory original. That has not been messed with. If you ever see one of these cars where this is really smooth and like overly shiny, that is not right. Somebody has put either a ton of body filler or they've put a lower quarter patch on and then filled it up. This is how I want to see them. I want to see these. Looks like almost like a little pencil eraser touched it. You can see if I can, right there. Spot weld, spot weld, spot weld. That's what you want to see. Bottom of the quarter is really nice. There's something else to look for is there's actually a very faint body line right here. If you look right there, you can kind of see a little curve right here. That's the way they're supposed to be. If you see one that's flat or it's really smooth in here, there's a bunch of body filler. There's something going on. It's someone's trying to hide something. A bunch of bad body work. Bottom of your trunk's really nice and clean. No rust. There's a little bit seam sealer popping through. Not a big deal. Hinge area, awesome. Trunk lip, awesome. Trunk pan, a little bit of dirt. It's a 40-year-old car. Fantastic. Let's go down here to the back. Here's your tail panel. This is the bottom of your tail panel. These things are almost always gone. And those holes, people like to grab them with a hook. Tow truck drivers and stuff like that. They'll pull them across junkyards with those. They have huge tears in them. You'll see like a tear going this way or a tear going this way where it's had a hook put in it. Nice and clean. Excellent. A little bit of surface rust right there. Not a big deal. Couple small holes in the bottom of the quarter. Not a deal breaker. Easy fix. Same thing on this side. That's exactly how you want to see it right there. Nice and clean. You can kind of faintly feel your spot welds. That gap is right. Usually when they put quarters on these cars, they don't trim this back out and the quarter will stick out to about here. Good all the way around. Door jamb. Bottom of the door. Rocker panel. Good stuff. I've already kind of went through the floor before I started filming, and the only thing I could find was a little bit of rust right there. Not a big deal. Floor panel fixed that pretty easily. Couple rust issues on the bottom of the fender. That can be patched fairly easily. So one last major thing I always try to look for, which this car does have a small issue. Always look under your battery tray. You can kind of see, if I can show right here, right about there. You can see some rust right there. The batteries are bad about leaking, and they'll leak down there on the battery tray area, cause rust through there. It's just part of it. Sometimes they can be fixed. They sell these radiator supports for like 300 bucks brand new. I would just buy a new one and just replace it. Bottom of the hood, always check your hood lip. Hood lip's nice and clean. Top of the hood. No bubbles. Someone did screw the shaker to the hood, which kind of sucks, but not terribly hard to fix. Overall, car needs a lot of work, but it's definitely worth saving. Someone has removed the data plate. Data plate would be right there. It's kind of like a business card size metal plate. It's going to have your build date on there, the colors, your trim, whether it was or was not a T-top car will be on there. All the RPOs for that stuff will be right here on that. Kind of sucks it's not there. But what I was saying earlier about getting your PHS will verify what this was supposed to say. And I'm pretty sure you can get reproductions of these. Not a deal breaker, not a super big deal. If it was a special edition car or something like a W72 404 speed car, I'd be a little bit bummed out that was gone, but it's a 403 automatic black car. You know, it'll be a nice nice cruiser for somebody, but not a huge deal. Not too concerned about it. So obviously, pulled the trigger, bought the car. Gonna take it back to the shop, go through it mechanically, trying to figure out what that click is. I hope it's just an exhaust leak. But the car will be available for purchase. You can call me at 864-369-2114. I got a couple others we can sell, but a killer little car. Bought the car. It's on the trailer. Cool guy, man. It's cool to meet new people that are into these things. He's got some other cool stuff. I'm gonna try to hopefully get off him later when he's ready to let some stuff go. But I'm gonna go grab some lunch because I'm about to eat my fingers, and then I'm gonna make another stop while we're up here. Place I've never been before, and we'll kind of keep the theme of the racetrack thing going on. So I'll probably just totally blow my cover on where I'm going in a way. But yeah, buddy. There's no way I could be this close to here. And not make a quick pit stop before I head out. What a shame. They're widening the road up here, and I've been hearing rumors they're supposed to start doing something to get this place back open and running again, but I'm gonna see if I can get over a little bit closer, try to walk around a little bit. Well, that sucked. I tried to get in there, and there's absolutely no way to even get near it. That little shot I got of the sign was as close as I could get. So, that's a bummer. NASCAR, open these tracks back up, please. Don't bitch about people not showing up to races when there's not even a race for you to show up to. Just got done eating the Lord's chicken. Nice little way to finish the day off. But just to kind of put a cap on the whole afternoon, man, this phone's shaking bad. I hope it doesn't come off like that in the video. Good day. Bought a good car. I like this thing a lot. I want everyone to know that, I mean, I make a living off of this. This is how I pay my bills. I don't buy a car unless it's something that I would buy for myself. Because the way I have to look at it is, if I purchase a car and it ends up being a piece of crap, then it's something, if I can't sell it, I get stuck with it. If I get stuck with a car, it better be a car I want to get stuck with. I like this car. It has a lot of potential. You can make a mean pro touring car out of this thing if you want to. Ain't nothing wrong with a factory black on black 2nd gen Trans Am. I think old Mr. Burt Reynolds would approve. But one more thing, Rockingham Speedway, big speed bump, Rockingham Speedway, the scenes at Talladega Nights where Ricky Bobby is testing the car after he had his big crash, and he like freaks out and he's running around the racetrack in his underwear, that was Rockingham Speedway. Now, it was probably one of the last things they ever did there. It looks terrible. I hope NASCAR does something with that place. I don't want to see another great track in the heartland of racing territory go to waste. So NASCAR, fix it, please, please. And another thing, I'm going to go back to talking about the VIN numbers from earlier. I only covered the VIN number on that car. So 70, for example, 76, 77, 78, 79 cars. Always going to be a 2W87, man, I'm shaking around a lot, 2W87 VIN. 2W87K on that car. All other cars, like a 400 Pontiac car, is going to be a Z code car. That's the only engines available from 77 to 79. Was a Z code Pontiac 400, a K code 403, 77 to 78. 79s, they started putting the W code 301s in those things. So you have 3 possible engines in a 79, a K code 403, a Z code 400 4-speed car, or a W code 301, which was an automatic or a 4-speed car. And I think the phone stopped shaking because I'm stuck on a red light. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Subscribe and tell your friends. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below in the comments. Call the shop, 864-369-2114. I'm starting to move again and the phone's going to start shaking. Thank you all. Have a good one. Catch you on the next one.